right? I don't know, man. I just feel like for me, I've kind of reached a point now where I think we just have to live with this. Like it is what it is. And until we have a vaccine, there's no real way of curbing this on a wide scale level. I mean, yeah, locking down the country did work. Um,
Yeah.
Obviously, closing different businesses, restaurants, bars, anything with a large gathering of people. Obviously, that helps. My main point of contention is the lack of consistency with what can stay open, what can't, right? And then also like lockdowns work when you have a government that is fully functioning, that is saying, hey, don't go to work for 4 months. We'll pay you.
Right.
We'll help your businesses stay afloat.
Right.
Don't have to worry about paying rent or mortgage or whatever. And we'll be there to split the bill, right? If you have a government that does that, then of course, lock us down. It's wintertime anyway, right? Most people, unless you live in California or in Arizona or in Texas or somewhere in the South where you don't have a really rough winter, like most people are going to be indoors for the next 3 or 4 months for the majority, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, go ahead, lock us down. But if you're telling us, hey, we're going to lock you down because we don't really know how to curb this spike, and but hey, you're basically on your own. Figure out how you're going to pay rent. Figure out how you're going to pay your mortgage. And if you happen to work in the service sector industry or in a gig economy somewhere, um, good luck with unemployment. That just doesn't work for me. You know what I mean? And I'm blessed that obviously I'm not in a situation where I'm in a fear of losing my job or in a situation where I might lose my job. So that helps. But I can't, I mean, I can't even imagine what somebody who owns a small business is going through.
Right.
Like even in this community, like I'm lucky enough to work in government. So I know a lot of small business owners, and I hear the horror stories, man, how people are just like, man, I can't afford to stay open. I want to, people that own restaurants, they're like, I don't even know if I'm going to make it to 2 months. You know,
It's
I don't know. It's sad. It's sad. Like there's this lady across the street from my job just opened her cafe literally like 2 weeks before the pandemic became the pandemic, right? Like so literally she opened her cafe like I want to say like February 1st, but probably
right.
like around the 14th or something, right? So literally a month later, she loses all of her clientele. And she opens her business literally February 1st, 2020. And of course, going
That's
through the whole business planning phase, getting a loan, getting a facility, getting that facility built up. I mean, obviously, she would have never known that this was going to be a thing, right? And it's crushing, man. It's sad. And I talk to her quite often, and she's like, it's uncertain. I probably have enough to just kind of make it month to month at this rate. But even then, it's like if you're not making the revenue, you're pretty much you're pretty much asked out. So yeah, I feel really strongly about it, man. And I don't I always get annoyed too. Like this is one of those issues where you can have differing opinions. Like I hate that we live in such a polarized country right now that like if you're anti lockdowns, then that means you're like some crazy right wing like anti-mask wearing nut. Like no, of course I believe in wearing masks and I believe
right.
in being safe and taking all of the preventative measures possible to avoid a spike. That being said, the lockdown is not a popular thing amongst Americans. It's very split, and I get it. There's valuable reasons on both sides to be for or against a lockdown. And I just don't think it's a one-sided issue. I don't think it's we should just completely lock down or we should just completely be run free, right? Like there's nuance on both sides. So I'm interested to see what you think about it. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I would lean more. I think you and I pretty much have the same point of view. I mean, I would be in favor of a lockdown. But we have to live in reality in the sense where our government's just not going to provide whatever we need to sustain ourselves. They're not going to give us the popular stimulus funding. Small businesses are going to continue to hurt. So I can understand a small business owner who's like, listen, I understand the need to lock down and stop the spread of this virus, but I literally cannot survive a lockdown. So I do understand that. I do think a lockdown would be more safe. I think a lockdown would be smarter. I think that's something the CDC recommends. I think that's something WHO would probably want as well. I mean, you look at countries like South Korea and Australia who did do these things from the beginning. They're way past where we are, and I think a lot of it is because they didn't let the virus spread. I so for me, best case scenario, we would all come inside for 4 to 6 weeks. But I know for a fact, A, the government's not going to fund that, and B, you're just going to have people who are not going to follow the rules. So I don't know how effective it would be. But just because it wouldn't be effective doesn't mean it's not something I would recommend. So, like, if I was president of the United States of America, I would say, hey, listen, we need to do this as a country, 4 to 6 weeks, blah, 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 blah. But I would also add on top of that, if you have a small business, we're going to give you this. If you are an adult, or if you're anybody, if you're a US citizen, we're going to give you this rent freeze, mortgage freeze, wherever it is. But realistically, of course, this government's not going to come through with that. So I just feel like we are in a position where no matter what the country does, it's not going to work because we're not going to have, like you said, there are arguments both sides, but we're not going to get on the same side and do it together. There's just no functioning way where we're going to have a lockdown and the government's going to do what it needs to do, and that people who are anti-mask or people who are anti-lockdown are going to follow the rules. And if we don't lock down, the virus is just going to spread even more, in my mind, because people still aren't wearing masks. I wear my mask. I'm pretty sure you wear your mask, and a lot of people I know wear masks, but I know a lot of people don't wear masks either. And as long as they're not wearing a mask, this thing is going to continue to spread because it has been continuing to spread. They say we're on our third wave, but I'm sitting here arguing we're not even past our first wave. We just
I
continue.
agree with you. Yeah.
So, I mean, for me, the only way this stops is a vaccine, which we're not even close to yet. And then that's going to be a whole process too, because I'm not someone who's anti-vax, but at the same time, I'm not going to just put something in my body for the hell of it. I want to make sure it's good to go. Like
Yeah.
there are dangers to vaccines. It is what it is. Like um, people don't want to put things into their body. You can't fault someone for that. I mean, there are long.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so like I totally get that argument as well. I just feel like as a country, like we've messed up this response so bad that I don't even think people realize how much we messed it up because we're still such a long way from getting rid of this virus. Like we're gonna have to, like seriously, like vaccine and shut the country down. It has to come to that. I know it sounds terrible. It sounds like tyranny to some people, but like this virus is no joke, and it's really random. I think that's what's so crazy about the virus. It's so, despite pre-existing conditions or how healthy you are or what your age is, like it can literally cripple you and kill you. I mean, it's just, I don't know. We live in a crazy time. I mean, like I said, best case scenario, lockdown, stimulus checks, stimulus for small businesses, rent freeze, all that good stuff. But I just know damn well that the government's not going to do that.
Yeah, and that's my biggest issue, right? If the government is not going to do that, then I think it's hard to tell people, hey, stay home 4 to 6 weeks. I think it's hard to tell people, hey, we're going to close gyms, we're going to close bars. God forbid you own any one of those, work in any one of those industries or own a business in one of those industries. You're screwed. You know what I mean? You're just you're screwed. Especially like think about it from a retail perspective, right? Like you're basically killing your retail business right now in the busiest season, the busiest shopping season of the year, right?
Yeah.
So some of these businesses that were, even just praying to kind of go into the black or just even barely make it to the black, now forget about it. You know what I mean? Now I'm not so much worried about the retail industry because obviously you're still going to have online shopping. You're still going to have some component of people shopping and buying and doing stuff. And honestly, with the lockdown, that's probably the only thing you can do to keep yourself from being bored and depressed. If you have the money to at least, be able to shop, is to, spend on retail, right? But that being said, though, it's just it's an imperfect situation, man. I don't know if there's a right or wrong answer, and it's sad because there is such partisanship with this, and it's so politically toxic right now that it's almost like, again, like I said, if you come out and say, yeah, I'm all for taking this virus seriously, I'm all for making sure that we're doing the right things. If you say those things, but I'm anti the lockdown, now you're some right wing idiot that doesn't know what the fuck they're talking about. And it's the same way on the other side, right? If you're just like, hey, man, what's the I'm just lock us down for as long as you want. Then you're some sort of communist,
Right.
Che Guevara wearing, t-shirt wearing Nazi or socialist Marxist or whatever. Right. Like, so it's just, it's so toxic on both sides, man. And like, and you hit it right on the head, right? That the response to this has been so bad that, I remember when I was first like researching the virus, and people and economists were talking about what are the lasting effects of this, like, and a lot of people said that this was going to be a 3 to 5 year thing, and I was like, man, that seems a little much. But now looking at it, man, like
Yeah.
I can definitely, I mean, this is essentially going to cripple us for the next 3 to 5 years.
Yeah.
Like, because you gotta think about it. Let's say we get a best case scenario, we get a vaccine, a working, fully tested, have to preface that, fully tested, fully working, trustworthy vaccine. Uh, January 1st, 2022. I don't know. None of us have ever lived through this. So how fast can you get that out on the open market?
Right.
How fast can everybody get it? You know what I'm saying? What's the turnaround rate from when you get the vaccine to where you're no longer, a potential risk of either getting it or infecting others, or that's vice versa. So like
if it costs
right, how much? Yeah, exactly. How much will it cost? Hopefully, they make it something that it's available to the public as a whole. Yeah, man. I mean, it's just, and then it's like, okay, you get the vaccine, then we got to repair all the stupid things that we've done up to this point, right? Up to the point where we had a vaccine. So, repair the economy, repair some of these local municipalities that are getting killed and crushed by this. You know what I mean? All of this stuff is going to take time. People think that, okay, as soon as we get a vaccine, yep, that's it, over, done with.
Right.
No, I don't think that's going to happen at all. So, yeah, man, it's troubling. It's troubling, man. But I don't, you're in New York right now. How things are? I haven't had a chance to talk to some of my people out there, but how are things in New York? You guys are getting ready to shut it down too, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, they're toying with the idea. They were gonna shut down schools and close schools tomorrow. Tomorrow being Monday, but I think they're keeping them open for now. Um, out here, everyone's wearing a mask in stores. I mean, granted, I'm in a suburb right now. I haven't been in the city since I've been back. I'm staying with my father until I move back to Los Angeles. But yeah, I mean, I live in a suburb. It's just completely different than the city. So I haven't been in the city. I have no idea.
Yeah.
But yeah, they were toying with the idea of shutting it down again, which I think is going to happen.
It's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's going to. The numbers
like
now.
I'm not against it. I'm not against it. I think it needs to be done, but 4 to 6 weeks, with half of the people following the orders and no stimulus checks, and some people going to work because they have to. Like that 4 to 6 weeks is going to do absolutely nothing. It might do something for a little bit, but at the end of the day, it's just going to come right back because some people are out not following the orders, and they might not have been following the orders for respective reasons because they have a family to feed. So it's one of those things where like I just, and this is where just bring it back to like the election where you and I we're happy that Trump is gone, but I'm in the same breath we're like we just voted an administration that's not going to handle these type of things the way that we would want them to be handled, unfortunately. So.
Well, we'll see. Like I said, we'll see. We just, yeah. I think the biggest thing that annoys me though is, and full disclosure, I'm a little biased, obviously, because I have a vacation. I had a trip planned to go see my mom, see family. That's pretty much now, up in the air at best. Up in the air at best. No, she's in Florida. But I mean, Florida is essentially COVID city. The epicenter of COVID, right? Yeah. So shout out to Ron DeSantis. So pretty much that's up in the air.
Yeah.
And it's just. My biggest thing is, okay, so gyms are closed, bars are closed, restaurants can stay open to 25% or whatever, right? So I think that's what it is. I think they're like up to 25% capacity. But, no, I think that just listening to Jay Inslee say, he put out, restaurants are indoor seating is closed completely. So restaurants can actually seat outdoor seating, but who the fuck wants to go outside
outdoor
and seat?
Seating is built with a tent around it. So it's basically the indoor seating outdoors. That's what it is.
Right. So it just doesn't make sense, right? Yeah. Like it's just like, and I get it. We're all just grasping at straws to a point, right? Because we're all just trying to figure it out as we go. We're using the health experts' advice best as we can and trying to make a rational decision. I get that. And I'm not trying to knock Inslee. I know people are on Twitter bashing Jay Inslee like he's the worst person ever. Some people, and again, it's a totally split. You got people on the right who are saying Jay Inslee is a tyrannical, socialist, and then you got people on the left that Jay Inslee is the greatest thing ever, right? So it's split down the middle, I would say. I get it. We're trying to do the best that we can here, but I don't know, man. It's so frustrating. It's so frustrating. And I think for me, it's just so frustrating because it does feel like, I don't know how it feels like for you being in LA and then now being in New York again. But for me, I don't feel like we're not like, obviously I'm not around outside 24/7 in every area in every corner of Washington to see what's going on, right? But at least for my little pocket of the world, and that's the only thing you can speak on, right? Is your little pocket of the world. I feel like people are doing the right thing. Like I feel like people are wearing their mask. Like I don't go anywhere and I don't see anybody without a mask. Like I see masks everywhere, right? I like I'm I feel like people in Washington State are, for the most part, right, doing the right thing. And the numbers are still spiking. So how much of this is just happenstance? Like it's just going to happen because we just don't have a way to prevent this. We just have no way to fight this, right? Without a vaccine, without something that we know for sure is going to work. You know, who knows? I think that's the frustrating part about it, because it's like, it's not like I'm in Orlando. Like I talk to friends in Florida. I talk to friends even in New York, right? That'll tell me, but specifically like Florida, right? They'll tell me, oh yeah, you go to the mall here and you'll see, for every 10 people you see wearing a mask, you'll see 10 people that are not.
Yeah, it's like that in LA
Right?
too. It's like that in LA.
Really?
By the way. Yeah.
Yeah, here I can honestly say, again, I'm not in every single corner of Washington State, so I cannot say that. But I know for me, in my little pocket of the world, I've gone to restaurants, I have gone to the mall, I've gone to a movie theater. Everybody is wearing a mask, young, old, like everybody's taking it seriously.
Yeah.
Like I don't know,
Well,
man.
I wouldn't say 10 for every 10 that you see wearing a mask, it's probably 3 or 4 not wearing a mask. It's not the same rate as Florida, but there are a lot of people not wearing masks, especially in the beach cities.
Oh
Especially on
yeah,
the coast.
yeah, yeah,
Especially
yeah.
on the coast.
I don't know, man. I don't know. And part of it also, man, for me is like, I'm at the point now, bro, where it's like, I know this is gonna sound harsh, but it's like it's natural selection time, baby.
Nah,
Like I just
I'm
I'm
not with
just
you on that, man.
I'm just like,
I'm
bro,
not with
like
you on that.
honestly, I'm not in the business of convincing people to wear masks anymore. I'm not in the business of trying to teach people what the hell to do. It's like, if at this point we've been dealing with this virus now, or what, in November,
Yeah.
we've been dealing with this for 8 months. 8 months. We've known about it for about 9 or 10. If at this rate you're still questioning the science, if you're still questioning the validity of the facts and what's going on and what's not, what I mean, like, then you're never going to understand. You're just one of those people that you again, that conversation we had last week about how do you connect, that unity thing, right? How do you talk to the other side when they just don't want to, they don't live in reality? Natural selection, bro. Like, honestly, I'm just so frustrated with everything, because it's like, you know what? For the first time, I was just so frustrated the other night that I just told my wife, I was like, don't, no restrictions. You know what? Just make it a free for all. Just say, fuck it. You know what? You want to wear your mask? Wear your mask. If you don't want to wear a mask, if you don't want to wear your mask, then don't wear your mask. Because, bro, it's like, it's just so frustrating, because it's like,
no, I get it. I get it's frustrating. I understand it. It's frustrating, but that's an awful idea, man.
I know it's an awful idea. I sound like a Republican governor.
Nah, I'm not.
It's a free for all.
I'm not down with herding immunity. And listen, the whole natural selection thing, to me, I get what you're saying, but at the end of the day, like, everyone, you can be doing all the right ththings correctly, and you could still get it. So to me, it's really not natural selection. I wish it was natural selection. If it was natural selection, I'd be like, yeah, all right, everyone just go out and do what you got to do.
Yeah.
But no, I just don't see it the same way you do. But I am frustrated. I mean, it sucks. And I'm not gonna lie, like, I go out more than I should, but I always wear a mask, but I still go out more than I should. Like, there are times where I play basketball. I play with a mask on, but I play basketball. Like, I go shoot around. I go out to eat. Like, I do those type of things. And, I understand that I'm risking not just myself and other people, and it might be a little selfish, but, like, I just think as a nation, for the most part, a lot of us, if not most of us, are doing that because we're just fatigued. It's just a fatigue factor. And a lot of it is entitlement as well. I'm not going to sit here and like, it's not entitlement. Like, I want to do things, and it's hard to stay home. And, I feel like I'm following protocol by wearing a mask and not staying. I'm not going out to parties. I'm not doing anything like that. But, like, I'm doing little things. Like, I'll go to the courts and I'll shoot around if I could. Or if someone comes, if someone wants to play with me, it took me a while to play with other people. I wasn't doing that. Me and my friend, we would just play horse. And then after a while, I was like, all right, I'll play with the mask on. So, but even that type of stuff, man, like, I cut down on that a lot, just because, I don't know, just lately, just seeing the numbers, it's kind of like a reality check where it's like, I can't be doing this. Like, it's kind of scaring me again. And like I said, I'm definitely pro lockdown, for the simple fact that I think it's just the most effective way to stop the virus before we have a vaccine, which we don't know where we're going to have. I just don't trust the country and I don't trust our government to do the lockdown correctly. So if we do a 4 to 6 week lockdown, and when it doesn't work, because it's not if it doesn't work, it's going to be when it doesn't work, because our country's not going to have the capabilities to do it. It's just going to make things worse at the end, because it's going to be 4 to 6 weeks. We're going to do it, and then the people who are anti-lockdown are going to be even more anti-lockdown when we would try to do it again, if we do have to do it again. So I don't know, man. I just feel like we're in a really tough position in this country right now,